Good evening, scholars. It is a pleasure to be joining you tonight and sharing my research proposal with you. My research will look at open educational resources and student success outcomes in higher education. Before we get started, let me share a little bit with you about myself. My name is Montaigne Long. I am a PhD candidate in higher education administration at Texas A&M University. In my full-time role, I am the Associate Director of Veteran and Military Services for the Texas A&M University system. I have been a higher education professional for about 15 years, and my focus is on student success and assisting underserved populations. As we jump into this presentation, I want to ensure that we are all on the same page. So I would like to start with some background on open educational resources, or what will be referred to throughout this presentation as OER. In 2002, there was a UNESCO meeting to discuss developments in relation to new ways of sharing content on the internet, insufficient library resources, the need for access and materials in languages other than English, and the philosophical view of knowledge as a collective social product. One of the outcomes of this meeting was the definition of OER. That definition is the open provision of educational resources enabled by information and communication technologies for consultation, use, and adaptation by a community of users for non-commercial purposes. In higher education, OER is more commonly understood to encompass free online learning content, software tools, and accumulated digital curricula that are not restricted by copyright license and that are available to retain, remix, reuse, and redistribute. You may recognize OER as things like free open textbooks and free course materials like educational objects, learning or training resources, or research work that are available to students. Another type of OER that you may have heard of, need to be familiar with, are massive open online courses, or MOOCs. MOOCs were first offered in 2008, however, they proceed by both open online courses and the OER movement. There's been some debate around MOOCs and if they truly are OER, and generally we have to look at the intent of the MOOC to determine if it really is OER. I think if you ask anyone, they're probably going to have an opinion about the affordability of higher education. The cost of higher education are rising, no doubt. Textbook costs have increased 9.5-fold since 1980, according to data compiled by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. However, the cost of living is only 3.5 times more compared to 1980. OER provide a means of equity and access to higher education in terms of affordability, and there are definite student success outcomes that are aligned with OER. When we look at OER as an innovation in higher education, we can see some traits of OER that helped with its diffusion. OER has relative advantage in that it saves time, money, and effort, along with building students' capabilities. It also possesses trialability that makes it attractive. Faculty can try OER before adopting it in their teaching, research, or training. Lastly, it has observability. It provides opportunities to share research with others, and it encourages cooperative learning. OER is not without its barriers, though. It lacks compatibility. Faculty are a little hesitant to share their resources with others. They might be afraid of misuse of OER, and they are also a little afraid that credit might not be given where it's due. OER can also appear to be complex to implement in teaching and research, and faculty believe that sufficient skills, time, and effort are needed to understand its contents. The research that I'm proposing here tonight has the following objectives. Number one, to illustrate the impact of integrating OER into higher education curriculum on student academic performance. Two, to demonstrate how OER adoption can positively influence student engagement. Three, to examine the relationship between OER utilization and student retention rates in higher education. Four, to showcase the role of OER in promoting access to education for all students. And finally, to encourage dialogue among educators and administrators about the potential of OER adoption to enhance student success. The participants in my study will be students in an introductory government political science course in fall 2024. The institution at which this research will be conducted is a large R1 research land-grant institution in the Southwest. The study will be using archival data to compare student performance. The control group will include students from 7 previous semesters in the same course who did not have access to OER, while the experimental group will consist of the students in the fall 2024 course with access to OER. Final course grades will be analyzed, representing overall performance in the course. In addition to final course grades, institutional data will be collected on each participant and used as covariates. That includes term GPA, cumulative GPA, term credits attempted, term credits earned, total credits attempted, and total credits earned. The participants will be students taking an introductory political science and government course, which is a 3-credit class that's part of university core curriculum, so this is required of all undergraduate students for graduation. These are typically large course sections that will have somewhere around 450 students in a lecture format, and all students in this section will be utilizing OER. There are not results. However, previous research on OER has found that courses that implement OER have higher student grades, higher pass rates, lower failing rates, and lower withdrawal rates. OER provides student success outcomes, such as improved retention, persistence, and graduation rates, and can directly improve performance through increased satisfaction, increased engagement, and increased interest in the subject. When grades in courses that use OER have been examined, the D, F, and W, DF and withdrawal rates, are decreased. And for Pell-eligible, underserved populations and part-time students, DFW rates decrease significantly. In this study, I'm hypothesizing that grades will increase, failing rates will decrease, DFW rates will decrease, all as a result of implementing OER in the course. At last, there are implications for implementing OER in higher education. Financially, students benefit and their potential debt is reduced. Many times, students forego purchasing a textbook due to its exorbitant cost, which can have negative impact on their learning performance and persistence. During the COVID-19 pandemic, OER use increased significantly when institutions were forced to switch to fully online learning. As a result, some faculty developed custom OER for their courses, thus increasing the amount of OER that's out there. And kind of similarly, the OER movement has spawned something called Zero Textbook Cost Courses, or ZTC courses, where all course materials are provided through OER. ZTC courses are making education more accessible, more equitable, and more affordable for students. This concludes my virtual poster presentation on open educational resources and student success outcomes in higher education. I hope you walk away a little bit smarter, learning a little bit more about OER and how it can be used to support student success in higher education. Thanks for joining me.